Hi everyone, namaste. Good morning, good evening to everyone around the world. And today we have Kim, our co-host, and Sasha from Canada. And Sasha will be sharing the real stories around the world. So, Sasha, over to you.
Hello, Sasha. Thank you so much for doing this for us and sharing these beautiful stories from around the world. And they're sad stories, but they're real. And
Yeah.
so we're going to let you read the first letter.
Thank you. It's a very, very emotional letter written by a girl who lives for a few years now in Italy, but she's originally from Russia. She is in the travel industry and she's writing to all her friends around the world. And I was really devastated yesterday when I first read her letter. So sorry if I will have to stop along the way to catch my breath, but here we go. I think everyone knows I live in Italy. So thank you to everyone who remembered, wrote, called me at this difficult time. Because I can't tell everyone what's going on here. I'm writing more screaming. I'm trying to reach out to those I care, to at least those I care about. My dear friends, you have no idea what's waiting for you in a few weeks and how your life changes in such a short period of time, turning into a movie, a disaster movie, unfortunately. So, if you're still hanging out, go to work, take your kids to the gardens and schools, just know that 2 weeks ago we had all the same. I laughed too. I tried to save my business, which depends on the tourist flow. Now this is no longer relevant. Now only one thing is relevant for us: to survive. I didn't want to scare you for a long time, but maybe my description of the current situation will change something in the hearts of my Russian and not only friends, and even save someone's life. So, our reality today: everything but food stores and pharmacies are closed. We leave the house only once a week for food, masks, and gloves. You need to have a permission to get out. Shop only close to the house within a distance of up to 1 kilometer. They can track you on a phone. Your phone number is listed in the permissions that you get to get out. Otherwise, a fine of 206 euros and a criminal responsibility. There are a lot of posts, checks everyone in a row, both by car and those who are walking. If you have one small shop under your house and it's expensive one and you want to go to another one where you used to buy groceries, no one is interested. You have to go to the closest store. Everything that can be moved to hospitals like during the war. Today, a cruise ship was opened to the hospital today. Those between life and death are accepted, with those who are hopeless allowed to simply die. If you bring two patients, one 30 years old and another one 50 years old, they will save a 30 years old because there are often no equipment. There's no shortage of equipment. The sick lie everywhere in the hallways, pass. The doctors themselves work without a shift just as long as they stand on their feet. The doctors themselves die like flies. In the north, the bodies are taken out by trucks. There are not enough trucks. If your relative was taken away with the coronavirus, as we say, and he couldn't get well, you'll never see him again. The body is not allowed to stay, so you cannot say goodbye. They are taken away directly to the crematorium. Now have 700 to 800 people die a day. This is a huge number for a small country like Italy. Not only old people, but 30 years old and 40 years old die. They die very quickly in a few days since you realize you have a, um, crown coronavirus. And even powerful, strong like a bull man with strong immunity, and even the kids, yes, there are less of them, but what to do when there is about numbers if your own child dies? Never heard a bell call on death. I hear all the time now, and this sound comes into the ears. I want to hide and hide in the most distant corner of the apartment. So, if you still think it doesn't concern you where Italy is and where you are, there is a story of how calm it's all started. January 30th, in Rome, a couple from China was found and released in Rome. The air connection between China and Italy was cancelled. Everyone is calm. Nothing changes in your life. February 23rd, about 100 people were found infected. Explore our small cities in the north. Is installed, all the rest of Italy is working. Everything is open. March 4th, finally schools and universities are being closed. Doesn't remind me of anything. All children and students sleep outside. The weather helps. March 8th, almost 6,000 contagious. The rest is done to everyone. Then change the tactics because the numbers are too scary and accept the method of most European countries. Only those with symptoms are tested. Looking forward, I will say now the test is done only to those who are at the risk of dying. All of Lombardy was put on tests. We closed museums, movies, theaters, sports and shopping centers, bars and restaurants open up to 18:00, so it's 6 p.m., with the need to meet the rules. They continue to work in Rome, no mask, of course, working in the north of the south, brought to their parents' house, often carry the virus without knowing it. So people are moving from north of Italy to south of Italy, and very often they carry the virus. March 11th, all of Italy becoming a red zone. Almost 13,000 contagious cases. They close everything except food stores, pharmacies, and the high alert is announced. You can still play alone some sports on the street, shopping, but with the paper which has to spell the permission to do so. Already scary, but not really. We make a joke and post fun in the Facebook pages. March 23rd. Now about 60,000 are with the coronavirus, almost 6,000 dead. All plants and the university, schools, etc. closed. You can go up to a store one maximum every 3 days once, and it has to be up to 1 kilometer from your home. It is strictly forbidden to go beyond your community. Sports outside the house is banned. You can only move for food, and if you die, then of course no permission required. The patrol will fine everyone for violation, fine plus criminal responsibility. Military equipment in Bergamo cannot handle the removal of bodies, as there are no places in local cemetery available, and the oven cannot work in crematorium. Italian Prime Minister declared the crisis of the level on a level of Second World War in the country. This really looks like a war. There is someone in every family you know who is either dead or fighting for life. Not a joke anymore. All of this happened in 1 month. I don't call to panic, but I ask you, change your habits, It has to be changed now because it will be late in a couple of weeks. Do not leave the house, do not accept guests, relatives, do not go to work, school, university. This is, of course, mostly depends on the state, but still. Wear masks, wash your hands, cherish your loved ones. Get out of the house as rarely as possible and at least if it's necessary. The coaches, books, movies will help you. This is probably all for now. Who wants other details, please write to me in private. I always will be happy to help if I can. With love, your Polina.
Wow.
Very scary story. What can I say?
You know, one of the things I recognized in her story is this is not about her. This is her asking the world to take this serious. She opened up with, this is what's happening here. Please take this serious. She didn't talk about her. She said, if your life feels like it's ordinary today, in 2 weeks it will not be, because that's what happened to us. So this is the stories we're getting now. We're trying to spread the positive of powerful thinking, but I think what she's doing is very powerful. It takes a lot of courage to write a letter like that.
Yes.
I hope she's still alive. Maybe we can reach out to her and talk to her. This sounds like a goodbye letter.
Yeah.
When you look at the bodies are being carried to the crematorium. So there's no room at the cemeteries. There's no room at the hospitals. It looks very like an ending rather than a beginning. So we need to pray. But thank you, Sasha. I know you have a busy day. Many blessings to the world. We're going to share stories. Please email us. You can email Sasha. You can email GOLIV at ibm.tv. But thank you for sharing, Polina, and many blessings and prayers.
Thank you, and looking forward to see you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Sasha. May there be a tomorrow. Let's wrap. May there be a tomorrow.